We're almost there. This is our final video for the pre-algebra exam review. So graph each inequality on a number line. So we know 3 is going to be the point where things happen. And since there's no or equal to line, we'll have an open circle. So I do an open circle at 3. 3 is not part of the solution set, so I don't include it. Just put an open circle showing it's kind of the boundary. And it says y is bigger than 3, greater than 3, so I'll shade everything over to the right side of 3. 77 says t is less than or equal to 28. So I'll put a closed circle on 28 because 28 is included. And it says less than, so I want to shade all the numbers that are smaller than 27. Or excuse me, 28, sorry. Okay, you will be provided with these formulas on the exam, so you just have to remember which one goes with which. These two go with rectangles, these two go with triangles. You don't have to memorize them, just got to know which one goes with which. So 78, find the area and the perimeter. So the perimeter, that's over here for triangles. It doesn't matter which one you call A, B, and C, but you want these 3 numbers. We are not going to use the 7.5 in our perimeter because it's not one of the outer edges. It'll be important for our area, but it does not matter for our perimeter. So we add 15 plus 11 plus 23, and that gives us 49 inches. Now for the area, this does matter because it's the height. For the area, we use half times the base, which is 23, times the height, which is 7.5. You are allowed to use your calculator on this portion, and when you multiply those 3 numbers together, you get 86.25 square inches. So please make sure to put units. With perimeter, you just keep it as is. With area, you square it. Okay, 79, perimeter, we use 2L plus 2W. So the length, we'll call it 19. The width, we'll say, is 12. So that gives us 38 plus 24, which is a total of 62 meters for the perimeter. Our area formula, which if you look back up the paper you can see, is length times width. So we do the length, 19, times the width, 12. And that gives us 228 square meters. Okay, this is still dealing with rectangles and triangles, perimeter and area. So you can flip the page if you need to for the equations. If a rectangle with a width of 12 inches and a perimeter of 54. So look at the keywords here. It says rectangle, it says perimeter. So I'm just going to go and write that formula because I know that must be what I'm dealing with. Because it says a rectangle, it says the perimeter. Now it tells me the perimeter is 54 inches. That means P is 54 inches. It tells me the width is 12 inches. So I can plug in 12 for the width. But the question they're asking is, what is the length? That's why I just wrote L there, because we don't know the length. But we can simplify this now and solve for L. 2 times 12 is 24. Then I can subtract 24 from both sides. 54 minus 24 is 30. And I can divide both sides by 2, get 15 equals L. So the length is 15 inches, I should say, 15 inches. Okay, on 81, again, look for the key words. We see our shape right here, a triangle. And we're dealing with the area of a triangle. So I'll write the formula for the area of the triangle, which you can find on the previous page if you need it. It says find the base. So the base is what we're trying to find. We don't know the B. It tells us the area is 56, so I'll plug that in for A. And the height is 7, so 7 is our H. So I just type B, or not type, write B, because I don't know the base, but I do know the height is 7. So there's a couple different orders you could do this in. Me personally, I would just divide both sides by 7. 56 divided by 7 is 8. And you could divide by 1/2. That's the same thing as multiplying both sides by 2. It's easier in my brain to think about that, because you see the 2's cancel. 2 times 8 is 16, and we're in inches. So the base is 16 inches. Okay, 82. Express each ratio as a fraction in its simplest form. So you literally just write a fraction, 12 over 8, then reduce it. Both 12 and 8 are divisible by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. 8 divided by 4 is 2. So your final answer should be 3 over 2. 83, we write 2 over 8. Always put the first number on top and the second number on the bottom. These are both divisible by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So your final answer should be 1/4. All right, looking at 84, I think there's some more unit rates that come up a little later in the review. On unit rates, you still do a fraction, but you actually divide. So on these, we're just writing a fraction and then reducing. But with unit rates, you write a fraction and then actually do the division. One thing to remember though, money always goes on top of the fraction, no matter what order they write stuff in. If there's no money, just go with the order they write it in. But with money, no matter what, the money goes on top and the other number goes in the bottom. This is another part you're allowed to use your calculator. So you would just need to do 1245 divided by 5, and that will give you $2.49. This includes units. We've already got money showing. And that tells you that 1 pound of beef costs $2.49. So you can just say per pound. Okay, 85, which set is proportional? We're trying to see which one's reduced to be the same fraction all the way through. So 3/8 is already reduced. 6 and 16 can both be divided by 3. Divided by 2. And that does reduce to 3/8. These two can both be divided by 3, and they're 3/8. These two can both be divided by 4, but 12 divided by 4 is 3, which is in line, but 40 divided by 4 is 10. So we see these are not all identical. So we got to cross that one off the list. Okay, 1/5, that's already reduced. We can divide both of these by 2, get 1/5. These are both those by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1. 12 divided by 3 is 4. So I can go ahead and quit there, because no matter what this one is, we see they're not all equal. We can cross this one off. Okay, here 1/3, that's already reduced. We can divide both these by 2, get 1/3. Divide both these by 3, get 1/3. Divide both these by, talking too fast. Divide both of these by 4, and also get 1/3. So you see here, they are all equal. So C is the correct answer. 86, solve a proportion. Anytime you see two fractions equal to each other, the simplest way to solve it is by cross multiplying, meaning you multiply the diagonals. 5 times x is 5x. 4 times 12 is 48. Then we get x by itself, we divide by 5. And we get x equals, you can write it as a fraction. I would accept 48 over 5. Or if you want to reduce it to the decimal 9.6, that's also fine. So I would accept either one of those as a good answer. Okay, sorry for my typo on this one. Hopefully in future years it won't be there. But a pineapple upside down cake recipe calls for 12 pounds of pine apples for 20 servings. how many pineapples are needed for 45 servings. Okay, there's a couple ways you can approach this. To me, I think the simplest way is to say, okay, it's 12 pounds and 20 servings. So if I do 12 divided by 20, that gives me 0.6 pounds per serving. Now you don't have to write this in your work. I'm just trying to explain what we just found. We do 12 divided by 20 because 12 pounds covers 20 servings. So that means it requires 0.6 pounds per serving. So then I could multiply that 0.6 pounds by 45 servings and find the answer, which would mean 27 pounds of pineapples. So that's one way to approach it. You basically are finding a unit rate. You're doing 12 divided by 20 to see how many pounds you need for one serving, then multiplying by 45. You can also set up a proportion. I'm not going to work it out, but I will show you how you'd set it up. We have 12 pounds over 20 servings equals X pounds over 45 servings. So you can solve that using the proportion method that we did on 86, and you'd also get the same answer, which is 27 pounds. Okay, 88. An M&M package has 44 pieces. You see the number of each color, and we're told to write a ratio for each of the following as a fraction in its simplest form. So this process is very similar to what we did back on 82 and 83. We're just going to write the fraction and then reduce it. So greens, we see right here, there's 8 greens. So put 8 on top. Total number, that includes everything. Now, if you want to add all 4 of those up, feel free, but they told you right here the total is 44. So we do 8 divided by 44. Both of those are divisible by 4. So 8 divided by 4 is 2. 44 divided by 2 is 11. So your final answer should be 2 over 11. Okay, blues to reds. There's 10 blues. We'll put that on top. There's 14 reds. We'll put that on the bottom. Those are both divisible by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 14 divided by 2 is 7. Greens to browns. There are 8 greens. Put that on top. 12 browns. Put that on the bottom. Those are both divisible by 4. So 8 divided by 4 is 2. 12 divided by 4 is 3. Last one is browns to reds. Browns, there's 12 of them. 14 reds. Those are both divisible by 2. 12 divided by 2 is 6. 14 divided by 2 is 7. Okay, I was right. I thought unit rates would come up again. So 89 says express the unit rate if it costs $32.50 to buy 5 T-bone steaks. So we always put money on top. We divide that by 5 because that's the cost for 5 steaks. We don't know the cost for 1 steak. And we divide those, we get $6.50. So that tells us it costs $6.50 per T-bone. And you can write the word PER for per, but if you do this division sign right there, that's understood to mean the same thing. So you can say $6.50 per, or just use this sign to mean per. Okay, this is similar to one we did a minute ago where we were trying to decide if the fractions reduce to the same thing. If it does, they're proportional. If they don't, they're not. These are both divisible by 2, which makes this reduce to 1 over 8. These are both divisible by 3, both by 5, both by 8. So those are proportional. So here's what you need to answer. First answer is yes, or you can say proportional. Now as far as the explain, you just say because all the rates are the same, or all the rates are equal. Okay, this one, 1/3 is already reduced. We can divide these both by 4, get 1/3. Let's see, I think 2 is the only thing they have in common. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 20 divided by 2 is 10. So you see these are not equal. So you don't have to keep going. We already know it's not going to work. So we'd say not proportional or non-proportional. And it's because the rates are not all equal. Okay, I think we're down to our last page. Hang in there. Okay, 92. We're going to write proportions. So we have 25 pounds of fertilizer for $84. Or it doesn't matter with proportions, but just to be consistent with it, otherwise we'll put the money on top. But it actually doesn't matter on these. As long as you put the money on the tops of both or the bottoms of both, it'll work fine. So $142 I put on top because we put the money for the first one. X pounds goes in the bottom. So we cross multiply. 84 times X. 25 times 142 turns out to be 3,550. Then we divide both sides by 84. We get X equals 42.3 pounds. And you can just round to the nearest tenth. 93, we have 23 miles on 1 gallon of gas. We want to know how many gallons of gas we can do 393 miles with. So 23 times X, 393 times 1. So divide both sides by 23, and we get that it would take 17.1 gallons to get that far. Again, sorry for my typos on this page, or this number. A coach is ordering burgers for a team party. He knows that 18 burgers will feed 12 students. If there are 30 students on the team, how many burgers will he need to order? So 18 burgers goes to 12 students, and an unknown number of burgers will go to 30 students. So we cross multiply. 12 times X equals 18 times 30, which is 540. Then divide both sides by 12. So we need 45 pizzas. No, I just did it wrong again. Not pizzas, burgers. For crying out loud. Sorry, guys. I'm working on it. All right, 95. The wait time for pictures with Taylor Swift is 45 minutes when there are 60 people in line. As if anybody could get a picture with her, right? 45 minutes over 60 people. How long is the wait time? We put that on top because that's 45 minutes. That's the wait time when there's 145 people in line. So we do 60 times X equals 45 times 145, which is 65.25. We divide both sides by 60. And we get that the wait time will be 108.8 minutes. Please remember to use your units when answering these questions. Out of the kindness of her heart, Mrs. B paid $48 for 3 students to enter an essay contest. So $48 for 3 students. Find the cost, so we don't know the cost, for 16 students. We do 3 times X equals 16 times 18, which is 768. Then we divide both sides by 3. And we get that would cost $256. Okay, Mary paid $36.18 to cover 4 costs of Spotify Premium. We want to find the cost of 9 months. So again, 4 months is on the bottom, so 9 months will also be on the bottom. What we don't know is the cost for 9 months, so that's why we put X on top, because the cost is what we put on top of the fractions. So 4 times x is 4x. 3618 is 325.62. So we divide both sides by 4. And I think you do have to round. Anytime it's money, please round to the nearest penny. So that's why I went to 2 decimal places. It's at $81.41. Okay, the last ones. Okay, so you will be provided this on the test for any questions involving this. They won't be labeled for you. This is just from my key. Well, I mean labeled like which number goes with which. You'll get all the stuff that's typed. So complete each conversion, round to the nearest hundredth. So we're trying to convert yards to meters. So that's why we use this one, because it says 1 yard is 0.914 meters. So we do 8 yards times 0.914, and that tells us it's equal to 8.75 meters. Next up, we're going from milliliters to fluid ounces. Let's see. Okay, right there, we've got milliliters to fluid ounces. So we need to multiply the number of milliliters we have by 0.034. So 21 times 0.034 gives us 0.71 fluid ounces. Okay, number 100, we're doing 23 kilometers to miles. So we look, there it is. 1 kilometer is 0.621 miles. So we do 23 kilometers times 0.621. And we find that to be 14.28 miles. Our last one. Pounds to kilograms. Way at the bottom on the left, 1 pound is 0.454 kilograms. So we do 25 pounds times 0.454. And the result is 11.35 kilograms. Okay. Any of them you still don't understand, I encourage you to look back at your notes. Rewatch those problems on this if you need to. If you work hard, I assure you you'll do a great job. The exam questions are very similar to these, so if you're comfortable with these, you should be very comfortable on the exam. Good luck.